The Beyond the Fame podcast is fed by Lido Pizza. Lido Pizza never cuts corners. For menu and locations, visit LidoPizza.com. And of course, this podcast would not be possible without our longtime title sponsor, the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Upcoming featured entertainment includes The Fray on April 26th. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Happy 35th birthday today to Grammy-winning country star Pearce, who plays Stagecoach tomorrow before bringing her tour to the Fillmore in Silver Spring, Maryland on May 1st. She called in to discuss her journey from Kentucky to Nashville, sharing the inspiration behind hits like Every Little Thing, I Hope You're Happy Now, Next Girl, What He Didn't Do, Never Wanted to Be That Girl, and We Don't Fight Anymore. Hey, Pearce. Hey, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
We are talking to the country music superstar because you are coming to the Fillmore in Silver Spring, Maryland on May 1st, and I believe it'll be right after your big show at Stagecoach. So you're going to bring some of the Stagecoach magic. You think you'll still be on a high from that big festival and bring it on over here to Maryland?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm really excited for Stagecoach, and that's kind of our last big weekend of the Hummingbird tour. So I think we'll be in our best spirits.
The Hummingbird wings will be rapidly flapping still. All right, so this this is the Hummingbird tour, named after, of course, your most recent hit album here. So will you be playing that, Hummingbird start to finish, or is it kind of, pluck a couple off of that, sprinkle in the greatest hits? Because you've had quite a few hits over the years. So tease the set list a little bit.
Yeah, I do it always a little bit different. Hummingbird was quite a different album than 29 Written in Stone. 29 Written in Stone, I did play start to finish because it was a story. However, I pick and choose on this tour. So I have a lot of Hummingbird on there, but we do go back through all the albums and play some songs that I know people want to hear and kind of reimagine songs. And it's a really fun mix.
I love it. And you're coming to Silver Spring. Everyone remembers there was a Stevie Nicks song, Silver Springs, where she accidentally made it plural. We don't know why she had the extra S, but everyone says, oh, Silver Springs. But it's actually Silver Springs. A, do you remember the song? Or B, do you have any, cool, just fond memories of playing around this area?
You know that I always thought it was Silver Springs as well. So I'm also to blame here.
Learn something every day.
Yes. I just enjoy DC, the DC area in general. I feel like the country music fans are always really excited in Maryland. So I've always had great experiences there, and I'm glad that I get to have a stop on tour there.
Absolutely. Well, yes, big country music fans all over this area. And Patsy Cline from Winchester, Virginia. So it's a big country music area. But of course, you were born in Kentucky, and grew up in the 90s. So who were your country idols growing up? Either 90s or maybe I guess early 2000s, probably by what time you were a teenager. Yeah, who were you digging?
Yeah, I loved the Judds. They were from Kentucky. I loved Loretta, Patti Loveless, Alison Krauss, Leanne Rimes, Leanne Womack, Faith Hill, Trisha Yearwood, Shania, all the greats.
All the greats. Is it true there's a family home video of you declaring at a really young age, one day I'll be singing at the Grand Ole Opry? And then it came true.
Yes, I was 5. Isn't that crazy?
Did it accompany a performance? Were you standing on a table or, dancing in front of the TV to a Faith Hill album? Paint the scene behind that moment.
Oh, yeah. I had a McDonald's microphone and I was by the mantle fireplace area situation of our house. And I was belting. I'm pretty sure the first album that my mom bought me was The Woman in Me, Shania Twain. And so I think I was singing that.
Of course. I mean, I think I think everybody had that record.
Yes.
Everyone was singing Any Man of Mine and all of her hits over there. I mean,
yes.
Come on. But it teed it up for you to do it. And I guess you had it was more of a bluegrass band as a teenager. And remind our listeners, it was an audition for a Dollywood Country Crossroads. Are you convinced your parents to drop out of high school and move there to Pigeon Forge in Tennessee? Great old mill, great fried chicken. My wife and I did our honeymoon there in Gatlinburg in the Smokies, so we know it well. But yeah, is that true? The Country Crossroads thing, did that really set off your career?
I think it definitely was a big stepping stone. I knew that I wanted to get to Nashville, but when I was a high school student, I saw an audition to sing in the country show at Dollywood called Country Crossroads, and I asked my parents if I could do that, and it just kind of allowed me to jumpstart, I think, what was the inevitable. And it was a really, really big part of, that time in my life, a crucial part of the building of who I am today.
Awesome. So then, as you said, you eventually made it to Nashville. That was always the goal. And there was like some
Yes.
developmental deals, Sony and stuff that like kind of fell through. And but then you did the Josh Abbott band. They featured you on Wasn't That Drunk, and you played with them on Jimmy Kimmel Live and a bunch of stuff. My wife and I love that Josh Abbott band, by the way. Oh, tonight she's
Oh,
like Texas. That's a
I love
great training ground. But for I guess really the first album, Every Little Thing, 2017. That's your big breakthrough as Carly Pearce, on your own.
that.
Um, I would love to ask you about that title song. It's why do you think it? I mean, it's such a great breakup song, but it's like remembering every little thing, as in the title, about your ex. But yeah, why do you think it connected so well?
I actually have no idea, if
Mm.
I'm being completely honest with you. When I wrote that song, it felt very not what was working on the radio. And it felt very me, but it had kind of this Alison Krauss-esque thing to it for me. I think just everybody's felt those feelings, and that song is pretty hypnotic in the way that it plays. I guess it's very simple, but I truly don't know why it connected like it did. I would have never in a million years thought that song would be a breakout hit.
But it was, and maybe one of my favorites is on your second album, the self-titled 2020 album, Carly Pierce, your Lee Bryce duet. I hope you're happy now. And we're good friends with his drummer, actually, Michael Gray, touring drummer. But anyway, Lee Bryce is just a hit maker, man. And you two together on I Hope You're Happy Now, that burned up the radio. Is the magic behind that the idea that you're kind of sticking it to the ex a little bit? It's like, well, hope you're happy. This is what you want.
Totally. I mean, that's one of my favorite songs ever. I think what makes that song really unique, and I wrote that song with Luke Combs actually, and when we were in the writing room, we really wanted the chorus, like the phrase "I hope you're happy now," to work on both sides of a relationship. So I think what that song was able to do is it was able to speak to both sides of the relationship, which then made it kind of a universal song, no matter what side of the breakup you were on. And so I think that's why that connected so well.
Right, exactly. And the reason we're teasing these folks is because these are some of the ones sprinkled in at the Fillmore. So you get a little insights behind the song, and then you go see them live in Silver Spring, everybody. But I'm sensing a little through line as we go through some of these songs, because on 29, Written in Stone, the album, Next Girl was the big hit on that. And it's such a clever idea. Now you're speaking to the girl, that's dating your ex.
I know. I
I
have
bet
a
you probably
theme. I
met
have
him
a
at a
theme.
bar. I bet you walked you to the car. I know how this is gonna go, and I kind of feel bad for you, but I guess you got to find out on your own. That's sort of the vibe.
Totally. I mean, I definitely write from personal experience. Love has not been good to me in many cases, but you know what? We make great music out of it.
Right, exactly. I mean, and country history is filled with. I mean, that's where some of the greatest songs come from, right? It's all
For
the heart.
sure.
And then of course, What He Didn't Do was also on there. Were you a co-write on that one as well? Because it's the
I
idea.
was.
Okay, yeah. Do you remember when you're sitting there and that hits you? Because there's so many songs about he did this and I left him, or she did this and I left her. And this one is like you flipped it. It was really clever. It was like no, it wasn't something he actually did. It was all those little things he didn't do. Do you remember when that hit you? Like, oh, I'm gonna flip this one.
I, Funny story about that song. I had already written a song that day with two of my co-writers, and the elephant in the room was the relationship that had just publicly ended for me. And one of my co-writers, we were packing up our stuff, and he looked at me very boldly and said, "What did he do?" And I looked at him and I said, "What didn't he do?" And we both looked at each other, and he was like, "Sit down." And we wrote What He Didn't Do in like 45 minutes, and it's my biggest song today.
Isn't that funny? It's just a
Yeah.
little turn of phrase or like a little quip you say to each other, and then you glance at each other and you're like, "Ooh, that's lightning in a bottle! Quick, let's hurry and write it down before we forget." And 45 minutes later, boom, it's done.
Totally. As soon as I said that, we all were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's such a cool song. All right, well, I know we only have time for a couple more, but I don't I want to hit your big Grammy winner there at the Ashley McBryde duet. Never Wanted to Be That Girl. It wins the Grammy for Best Country Duo Performance. And folks, I'm gonna list the people you quote unquote beat. I know there's no winners and losers, but this is amazing. All right, so you're at the Grammys and you and Ashley McBryde, you hear your names called over the likes of Reba and Dolly. I mean, come on. Robert Plant and Alison Krauss, come on. Ingrid Andress and Sam Hunt, Luke Combs and Miranda Lambert, and the brothers Osborne. I mean, that is a murderer's row of musicians. Not only country, but you throw Robert Plant in there. It's that's unbelievable. And of course, the Dollywood connection growing up. So you beat Reba and Dolly too. But take me what's going into your mind when you see that category and you see all their faces on the screen as the winner is, and then you and Ashley McBryde get called up. Is that like the ultimate validation? And you're looking at it like that's all my heroes out there, and somehow I got picked.
I mean, when I tell you, first of all, that was the first time that I was ever nominated for a Grammy. So I was just excited. I didn't even think a Grammy was attainable, like in my brain.
Yeah.
So when I tell you like fully, I know people always say this, but like I never in a million years thought there was any way that we were winning that Grammy ever because of what you just said,
Yeah.
especially with the Grammys, where it's like those critically acclaimed artists like Robert Plant, Alison Krauss, Dolly, Reba, like they win those awards. And so when they called our name, we were sitting in like the very back of the pre-tell because again, we did not think that we were going to win. And I mean, when she said my name first, and it was like an out of body experience. Totally like one of the coolest moments of my life and of Ashley's. I mean, it was both of our first times winning a Grammy, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, the first time was the charm for you, apparently. That's incredible. Well, worthy because the songs are so good. All right, and then and before we run, I mean, I guess that sort of brings us back around to the album, the Hummingbird Tour, because you earned your second Grammy nomination for the Chris Stapleton duet "We Don't Fight Anymore" in 2024 off of the Hummingbird album. Similar to how we're saying you took simple ideas but kind of flip them and clever spins on them. This one is sort of about a couple that's, how would you say, maybe bored or apathetic. Like there's not enough passion left to even fight anymore. I guess there, at least if you're arguing, there's some fire left there. I guess it's sort of the idea. But yeah, take me into you and Chris putting that together and why you thought, oh, let's talk about a couple that they've just completely lost the fire.
Yeah, I wrote this song with a few of my friends, just about a relationship going cold. I think that you can be in this relationship. I think you can have left this relationship. I think this is a part of relationships that you don't hear people sing about very much, but I think it happens way more than people want to admit. So when I wrote this song, I just heard Stapleton singing on it, much like I'm sure many people hear Chris singing in their dreams on songs that they've
He's so
written.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the greatest of all times. He was my absolute dream duet partner. And so I asked him to sing on it, and he was so kind to lend his voice. And I feel like he just brought that other perspective in a way that nobody else could. And it's still, when you talk about all my duets, like I won a lot of awards with the Lee song and the Ashley song, and I haven't won anything with the Chris song, but to me, it might be the greatest duet I've ever had, more just for my own personal like fan moment of getting to sing with Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, awards are just awards, but we want to remind folks you are a 3-time CMA award winner and a 4-time ACM award winner, not to mention that Grammy. But it's funny to say the one you think might be the best actually didn't pick up the Harbor. But that just shows, it doesn't really matter. They're all great.
No.
They're all great.
Yeah.
And I always thought you had sort of a Faith Hill quality in your voice in that song. So you come in full circle to the childhood.
Oh my God, it's so nice.
And yeah, well, I guess let's sort of wrap it around and sort of end there. I guess you were inducted. You as a child in that home video, you said I'm going to be on the Grand Ole Opry, and lo and behold, you get inducted into the Grand Ole Opry. I guess what was it, 2021? I guess. Did it feel good to finally make good on that home video, or was there some deep part of you that said, I knew it. I called my shot. I knew what was going to happen.
I mean, people ask me all the time, like, did you really think that this would happen to you? And I mean, I think people who get to this level that tell you that they didn't are lying. Like I definitely believed that this was my destiny. somewhere in me, yes, I did believe that I would achieve this because I felt like I was put on this earth to make country music. However, when it actually happens, it is greater than anything you could have ever imagined. I mean, I'm turning 35, and literally every dream that I ever had as a kid has come true and at 35. Um, it's very amazing. And I'm so grateful. Yeah, the Grand Ole Opry, take all of the awards out of it. That for me is something that um, is probably forever going to be the greatest achievement I'll ever have.
Absolutely. And we'll say happy birthday. It's on April 24th. So it'll be right before Stagecoach on April 25th, and then right before the Fillmore in
And
Maryland.
guess what's fun? Chris Stapleton and I have the same birthday. Isn't that weird?
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy. Well, there you go. That no wonder.
I know.
Like you're saying, you guys were born to sing together. It's perfect.
It was
Um,
destined. It was destined.
It was absolutely, absolutely. And sort of you've been really generous with your time. I guess just the overall thought of women in country music in general these days, like the '90s. You mentioned it was such a golden era of Reba and Trisha and Shania and Faith and Martina and Jody Messina, etc. You can rattle them off. Why no? And then I feel like we had like the big bro country era. But do you think there's a reemergence now? I mean, my wife and I talk about it all the time. But like, I feel like there's some really, the Megan Maroney's, the Carly Pearces. There's some really good female singers and songwriters nowadays. Like, are you proud to kind of try to usher that back in? I think the people that are in charge of programming the radio need to get with it. Play some more of the women's songs.
Yeah, there. Don't even get me started on the crap that gets played on country radio versus how incredible the females are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've definitely earned my right to say that at this point. It's sad. However, when you think about the females in country music, something that the men cannot say, there are a few men that can say this, but you think about just Casey Musgraves, Kelsey Ballerini, myself, Ashley McBride,
Yeah.
Ella Langley. You know exactly who each of us are when we
Yeah.
get played on the radio, and the men can't say that. And I am so proud. I think it is an incredible Lainey as well. Oh my God. It's a really, really awesome phase of women coming up right now. And I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, everybody be a part of it at the Fillmore in Silver Spring, Maryland on May 1st. Carly Pearce. You don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.